All right, everybody on the Pro Forum. So I'm sitting here retouching, and I decided it's about time that I get to finally talking about WPPI. I know it's been like a week since I've been back from it's been a little less than a week since I've been back from WPPI, and I figured now I've collected my thoughts about it, and we could just have a little conversation. Frankly, I thought a few things were interesting. One thing I noticed, and forgive me if I'm not looking right at the camera because I'm like backed up like crazy on some retouch jobs for some seniors that I'm doing. I may make that a couple of movies, and I'm multitasking right now. Forgive me. At least I'm not driving, Tom. Anyway, uh, so here's a couple of things that I found very interesting about WPPI. If you talked to a vendor at WPPI, so like I got buddies who've been in the business for a while. Some of them, sell albums and cameras and frames, and all these different people have been knowing me forever. Okay, forever. And so anyway, if you talk to a vendor type, not an attendee, the vendors were like, ugh, it's not that great of a show. They had hardly anybody there. Negative, negative, negative. Nobody's buying anything. It's horrible. It's the worst thing ever. So then you ask, well, are you going to be back next year? And several of them, oh yeah, we're going to be back. And someone, well, I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. We're going to have to evaluate, and so on and so on and so forth. So I just thought that was interesting whenever you talk to someone, like I said, the vendor type. But if you talk to someone who was an attendee, someone who was there learning different techniques, someone who was attending the parties, someone going to all the different events, they were like, this was the best show ever. I can't believe how great this show was. Oh my God, the parties were incredible. Do you know they did this and they did that, and we had free this and we had free that? It was so good, and the speakers were incredible. They had so many different speakers. It was just the greatest thing since sliced bread to those who were attending. So I thought the difference in viewpoints was incredible. I spoke at WPPI, so as a speaker, I can tell you the audience was flat out incredible. It was the best audience I have ever had, ever. They were attentive. They were taking notes like crazy. They were, asking questions. In fact, I had trouble finishing because of all the good, solid, well thought out questions that I was being asked. It wasn't questions like, what ISO do you use? It wasn't those types of questions. It was good, solid stuff. It was really, really a good crowd. I seriously, I've been speaking at WPPI now for like 8 years, 9 years. And this was the best audience I have ever had. Now, from a speaker who sells stuff, it wasn't that great. I've had better WPPIs. So you see, I can kind of view this from both the attendees' viewpoint and also from the vendor's viewpoint. Now, I think what you're seeing personally in the era or in the world of the convention world is just a hand me down of the world that we have created. This was kind of what my whole thing was about at WPPI. I walked around WPPI not looking for hard products. I wasn't looking for albums and prints and specialty pictures on wood and metal and things like that. I personally am not finding customers buying that kind of thing like they used to. You're still making some sales, but not like you used to. More and more customers are buying soft products like digital files, and they're wanting Animoto movies, and they're wanting phone apps, and things like this. So that's what I walked around looking for. I found a bunch of really cool things in the H&H booth. I found a lot of neat things at the trade show. H&H introduced This little box that you can put a jump drive in. It comes with the jump drive. Very reasonable. Um, that you can put all your digital files like that as a product. Always my problem with digital files has always been the product itself. I don't know why this camera goes in and out of focus like that, and there's nothing I can do to make that stop. I've tried lighting, I've tried all kinds of things, and I just don't understand it. So I don't know. Maybe I have to try resetting it. So if that's bugging you like it's bugging me, forgive me. But I've tried all sorts of things when it comes to delivering the digital files, and I'm a weight guy. Forgive me. When you deliver a little bitty tiny jump drive and it weighs 3 ounces, and you say, "Here you go, give me $2,000." I don't know. It disturbs me. So by putting it in a nice little box with some fluffy stuff and a logo and a picture and I find it adds some weight to the thing, so it makes it feel a little more valuable. That's just kind of weird. I bought one of these cheap lights. This light right here. Bought this little cheap light. I think it was $40 from Sunpack. Bought that for video purposes, which I find kind of interesting. I mean, you could buy the ice light. Okay, ooh, for y'all those who have the ice light, you can buy that for $600, or you could have bought this for $40 and it does exactly the same thing. I just still fascinates me sometimes the things that photographers will buy. I went to a couple of classes. There was several classes I went to where it was all emotion, and we have to produce these beautiful images, and I pour syrup all over my body, and I take pictures of myself nude, and this is what I do, and I'm like, yeah, but that's a great hobby. How do you make money at that? I left that class. I went to another one. Guy had some really cool ideas. He was talking about getting his business up off the ground and how he started with absolutely nothing. And one of the things I thought was really interesting, he said that put him on the planet was how he literally made this little slideshow, an Animoto slideshow, and the music. It was the music he used was triple scoop music, but he injected throughout the video little segments, little things like greatest photographer in the world, and just things like this, which I thought was really funny. And he said it was just interesting how just by doing that, it made people go, "Oh, wow, this is the greatest photographer in the world." And they started to believe. They started to say, "Well, absolutely, we want to go to this guy." And it cranked up his business. And so to me, it reinforced the power, the whole power behind the positive thinking, that is what we need to do. We need to make sure that we're constantly looking at things from a positive standpoint, saying, that I am the best. This is the greatest moment in history for us. That was really interesting. I also went to a Bruce Dorn video class, and let me tell you something. That Bruce Dorn used to be a million years ago on the Pro Forum, and he was a fantastic shooter then, and now he's really devoting himself to a lot of video. He showed some stuff he's doing in conjunction with Hollywood. Incredible, just flat out, just incredible looking stuff. He had some kind of crazy project where he's literally videoed while driving all 7 continents, and he showed us a little segment of that. Just really, really motivational as far as getting this whole video thing cranked off the ground. To me, is another example of a soft product that we should be selling. Basically, when you do a video, you're selling your time. You're selling the editing time. You're selling of course, they get that video, but they get it in the form of a digital file on a CD, a DVD, a jump drive, emailed, however. But they're not getting a hard product. So again, reinforcing my idea, my thinking, and then things I'm seeing in the industry as far as soft products. Anyway, a couple of things that Bruce Dorn talked about in his video class was how to get, let's get this thing cranked up the right way. Start practicing, start doing things like he went out to learn focusing. And he thought to himself, what's one of the hardest things to focus on? It's a bunch of moving objects. So he went video a bunch of horses, wild horses running in the plains. and he showed some of his mistakes and some of the things that he did and how he learned it. And another great piece of advice was, don't take on too big of a project. Just maybe makes these little short videos with just music in the background. Instead of making some crazy movie with talking and having to sync voice and audio and audio voice and also music, having to blend all that together and blend the images with the music, and it was just fantastic advice. And so a lot of good positive things came from WPPI. There was an energy there that is always at WPPI, but I personally found, just in my opinion, it was a little notch higher than it usually is. And I really enjoyed that. I really got a kick out of that. Let me think if there's any other products that I found. There was a company that sold all sorts of digital products, like jump drives in a wine bottle and jump drives in a box. And one of the things I thought was really cool for marketing purposes, they will design you, and this is nothing new, but I just thought it was kind of interesting to maybe as another design product, is they'll make this little paper basically jump drive that comes inside of like almost like a postcard, and you literally mail this thing off and people break it off, and it's a jump drive that you can stick into their computer, and it plays a little movie, it plays PDF files, whatever. And this is how they were delivering their catalog. I thought that was kind of a fascinating thing. Anyway, that was a few of the things. A lot of album companies, a lot of labs, that kind of thing, as always at WPPI. But overall, I highly recommend it. I think it's one of the greatest shows. They really put a lot of time and effort into it. I would love to see more Pro Forum people show up. We had a good time with some of the ones that did. And that's the scoop. If you got any questions, maybe about what we've talked about at this point, please, by all means, put those in this thread, and let's talk about it. WPPI was worth it, and I plan on trying to be there again next year. Thank you much. We'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Bye-bye.